Innovation thrives when brilliant minds collaborate. At our Data Science GenAI Hackathon, we set out with one mission, which was to upskill our team and streamline our internal processes. So what exactly is a hackathon? A hackathon is an intensive, time-bound innovation sprint in which several teams rapidly build prototypes and test their ideas in order to solve real-world challenges. In our case, the GenAI Hackathon focused on leveraging generative AI to build efficient and smart solutions to drive decision-making. When it comes to GenAI Hackathons, we have a team of experts at Zero-G who organized this event, and this brought together all the data science experts at Zero-G to tackle real-world business problems. During the hackathon, 6 teams built AI-driven prototypes in order to transform our internal workflows. This includes simplification of documentation, automated content creation, and enhancing of our customer engagements. So let's take a deeper look into these innovative solutions and how they can revolutionize business operations.
So my name is Salah. I'm a data scientist with Zero-G, and the use case we've worked on is assisted GenAI deployment.
Hi, I'm Jenny, also a data scientist with Zero-G. Worked on the assisted AI deployment use case, aka Chatbot Factory.
Can you tell us about more like the motivation behind the use case?
With the popularity of GenAI growing, a lot of us realizing a lot of potentials around different organizations that can be benefited from chatbot products. The idea for this project is to create a framework to speed up the development and deployment of chatbots. So speaking of deployments, what are some of the biggest challenges do you think we have in deployment?
So one of the biggest challenges teams usually face is that the development and deployment process is like very fragmented. So there are like many pieces like people have to figure out and piece together, which can turn out like very time consuming and creates lots of friction. And our goal is to streamline this process, like create a template or kind of a blueprint, so to make it easier for people like to develop and deploy these kind of solutions. But also wondering about like the actual solution part. So how does the technical solution look like?
The technical solution really lives up to its nickname. It's essentially a factory that we create to help generate various chatbots with different requests taken in. To go a little deeper, this blueprint or factory that we have created will allow us to generate a front end, a back end, and a configuration container so that we can have a quick prototype of chatbots. So what we're doing here essentially is automating the process. So speaking of automation, do you think chatbot deployment will become fully automated soon?
So from a technical side of things, I think it's realistic. Getting from like a very rough request to a functional chatbot that you can already try out. But to me, it's not just about like technical feasibility. It's more about how do we make the user trust the solution. So that's why I think there will always be like a human in the loop to take a look, maybe adjust some things and improve the solution that the Chatbot Factory created. But yeah, getting like end to end from like production ready deployment, probably rather unrealistic, but getting something like easy up and going to test out, to show some client, I think this is very realistic, to be honest.
So we worked on the use case of the project documentation. And Patrick, can you tell us a bit about why we should do this?
Yeah, we wanted to simplify the process to document our client projects. So first of all, we wanted to ensure that we do not need to spend a lot of manual efforts, but rather make use of existing materials like presentations, but also there could be code files or README files. And we wanted to use GenAI to extract all of this information from the text and then directly put that in our project management tool to make it accessible for all other colleagues to use in their future projects. And with that, we also were challenged that we have a standardized documentation. And can you also explain, Fabian, how we managed to standardize these outcomes?
Yeah, of course. We did that by adjusting the prompt of our solution. So we provided a specific structure, for example, having titles, putting in a paragraph for our challenge, putting in a paragraph for our solution. We could also add a table that includes a number of people that worked on it, some financial information, so like that you have a very simple overview of the project. And putting this into our Gen AI model, and it then outputs a unified document, which can then with one click easily uploaded to our ClickUp documentation, where everyone can access it and work with it.
Yeah, hi, my name is Flo, and my use case team worked on a chatbot solution for our internal knowledge base.
My name is Chris. I worked on a Zero-G chatbot for the Zero-G website.
So what is actually the benefit of having such a chatbot for a company website?
Yeah, good question. These days, people don't have time. They don't have time to go through lengthy websites and search for what they need. And here, Gen AI really comes into play when our chatbot can deliver a highly customized knowledge and information which you really look for. Yeah, when you look for a specific product and you have to look through many pages, you can actually get through the chatbot this custom information based on your background and information, so that you don't spend the time scrolling around the whole day.
Okay, this sounds very complex. So is it actually that complicated to implement such a solution at a client?
Yeah, I get this question a lot. In fact, at Zero-G, we have built a tech stack to deliver chatbots and Gen AI applications to standardized frameworks very effectively, and so that we can provide to people, to clients, very quickly the solutions. We have the expertise across various projects building chatbots with Gen AI. And maybe to add, we are also expanding our portfolio and have expanded it to agentic AI, on which we also used in the chatbot to enhance it, to provide information. We had a chatbots agents for knowledge. We had an engagement agent to really allow for a higher quality content, as well as to include information from the website and other data sources. And for the customer, it's just, a highly personalized experience, while in the background, those agents do their job. Yeah, now I'm very curious. Let's switch gears. I'm curious to hear about your internal chatbot. Tell me, what's the difference between, what we have worked on?
Yeah, actually the difference is that our chatbot uses as data foundation our static internal information. And so as a company, Zero-G grew quite a lot over the last couple of years, and we wanted to have some kind of solution to replace the old-fashioned way of searching information in our knowledge base, and therefore it makes a lot of sense to implement a chatbot solution to enable our colleagues to find the information that they need with minimal effort.
So my name is Sasha. And I'm Prithvi, and together we have worked on pre-sales proposal drafting. So Sasha, what exactly is pre-sales proposal drafting?
So in this project, what we tried to achieve is we wanted to automate parts of creating the contracts for our projects. So we looked into just taking a very short summary of what the project's going to be about, and then using a large language model to generate all these informations that we need to put in the contract, like an estimation of work hours, an estimation of what the work packages will be. And we found that without giving the model more information about what we're using as technologies, all our processes and everything, that the answers that it came up with were way too generalized and not specific enough for us to put into a contract that we would send out to a client. So, and based on these experience, what would you say is like the key takeaways when it comes to using generative AI in these very loosely scoped and early stage projects?
So I think with Gen AI, it's really tempting to focus on the whole problem and try to tackle it at once. But I think we can receive the best value out of it when we really narrow down our problem, really scope it out. In our case, we scoped out the problem to identify whether Gen AI can really replace placeholder values, and it does really well. But when it comes to defining the work packages, without proper context, I think it's defining very loosely or very generic work packages, which is something that the sales team may not require. So in that way, we were really able to identify whether Gen AI was useful for this project, or otherwise there are any alternative solutions available.
Yeah. So one important point that the marketing team wanted to have these posts generated in the very special, unique voice tone of Zero G, and which would be representative of the Zero G brand, right? I know that you worked a lot on this point to fine-tune this very important feature. So maybe share how you did that.
Very happy to do so. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the core features that we focused on during development was to make sure that the generated content actually still feels authentic to Zero G's brand. And how we did that, we started off by using the already existing Zero G content and used it to fine-tune the AI to actually capture the tone, style, and overall voice of Zero G. And what we ended up with is actually something that is really, really authentic to Zero G. And on top of that, we also added we allowed the user to adjust the level of creativity. So you can not only generate posts that are authentic to Zero G's brand, but you can also add the just right amount of personal touch to the post, so it still feels personal to the audience. And I think in the end, what we ended up with is a tool, a social media content generator that is not only very easily integratable into the workflow, but also allows the marketing team and the users to generate high quality content quickly while still staying consistent actually across all of our platforms.
Yeah. I think this is by far was our biggest win, let's say, in this hackathon, to make AI not sound like AI, because in many posts you can see that this is written by AI, but when you make it sound like Zero G, I think this was like our biggest win.
I think you could even say that's why we started with the whole project. Yes.
What started off as a collaborative challenge within Zero G has now evolved into practical, high-impact solutions. From optimizing website interactions to automating complex workflows, these hackathons help us generate innovative ideas and hence drive efficiency. Hackathons don't just generate innovative ideas. They foster collaboration, help to build team spirit and upskill teams, and most of all, it provides the possibility for businesses that are looking to stay ahead to leverage generative AI in their processes.